Come on. Oh, that's what that was. Okay. Hello. Hey, Andy. Can you hear me? Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Hey, how you doing?
Good. Hey, I realized that we're actually 2 hours apart, so I'm only going to be able to meet for an hour.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah,
Okay.
like I think. Wait, are we 2 hours apart?
Yeah, it's 7 now here.
Oh, really? I thought it was like. Okay, that's fine. You want to just do like for today? We'll do one, and then like let's do like the extra tomorrow if you have time.
Sure. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. I always thought like you're in Texas, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because like a lot of my clients they said there was like 1 hour apart. Anyways, um, I was able to like do some some of the problems you sent me. It's and then like you mentioned to me like a lot of it is like translating the words into math.
Right. And what I'm doing right now, these aren't even GRE questions. I'm just working through the math review that's in the book.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, like I was wondering if like for those questions, which ones did you want to go over first?
Well, let's see here. Let me go back to it.
I think I kind of did all of those, but we can start with whichever one.
I guess if we could start with the one where it was like, okay, exercise 9, for a given 2-digit positive integer, the tens digit is 5 more units than the units digit, the sum of the digits is 11. I didn't even know how to get started on that.
Okay, I think I did that one. Let me just look for it. It's
Yeah.
oh, okay, this is the one, I think. Yeah, this is the one.
No.
Okay.
Sorry, the dog is being bad. Okay, there we go.
Totally fine. Maybe he wants to study too.
Oh my gosh. He is a pretty good study partner.
Okay. Okay, let's try to like hash it out. What part of that is like kind of confusing, and then like maybe I can explain it.
I just don't even know how to get started. Like, how do you set up an equation to solve that?
Okay. So what I have here, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So like it can go in many ways, but a lot of like this GRE like quantitative questions, they're really not meant to confuse you. It's very like a lot of it as like when I was studying for it, it's like very logical.
Uh-huh.
Like it's not like advanced like math, but a lot of tips I would say I can give you is try to like this is like one of the massive like skill is to convert the words into math.
Right. I think that if I could get that, I think it would be
Yeah.
like unlocking a door for me.
And then so here's one thing, like for this problem, a lot of this is going to be like this, but let's be specific with this one. So this part right here,
Uh-huh.
it says like 10 is 5 more than the units. What do you think the equation is for that?
Okay, so I kind of got started writing something like that, but then I couldn't figure out how 11 was gonna, I don't know.
Yeah.
How do you like, I couldn't figure out how to like do that and then also write, like, do you write a system of equations, 2 different equations?
Yes, yeah, you're right. The first one, yeah, the system of equations is what you need to do in this one.
Okay. So I didn't get that far. I only just now thought of that.
Okay, well, that's good. At least you can see it now.
Okay.
But let's try to like build that, like, I guess, skill. But my very first thing is, like, I don't know how many sentences this question is, but there's like keywords that you could look for, like especially like this is, and then more than.
Right. So that's like an equal and then an inequality, right?
Yeah. So the is always an equal. One thing that really stumps people is this 5 more than the units. So these are, oh yeah, try to create your own variables that make sense.
Right.
For me, usually I just choose like X and Y, unless they're just like unless the question says another X and Y, or you could use A and B. So what I did here is X is the tens and Y is the units. So like, and then you kind of just, fill in the blank with like the words. So you have tens is, so you have tens here.
Tens is Y plus 5. That makes sense.
Yeah. And then every time it says like after is everything like to the right. Like sometimes when it says like this is greater than or this is less than, so everything after is always after the equal sign.
Okay.
It's always after the equal sign.
Well, let me ask you this, because I'm not even looking down yet, but like, so is what I would do here is write out those 2 different equations. So this one and then X plus Y equals 11, and then like solve for X and then plug that in. You know what I mean? Yeah.
So at the end, what you have to do is like, since you are looking for it's pretty much a number. You're pretty much looking at a number here. And then you're gonna solve like 2 equations. So the first one here is what we have, and then the second one here is pretty much this guy. And then like once you know there's 2 equations and you're solving for X and Y, it really becomes just like any math question instead of just like all these words like how do I find like the answer.
So X equals Y plus 5 and then X plus Y equals 11. So I guess I wouldn't have thought of canceling out the Y. I guess what I would have done is, tell me if this is wrong. It would scroll back up just a little bit. Like when you write out your 2 systems of equations, I would have maybe just like solved for Y. So like Y equals 11 minus X, and then plug that into the top one. You know?
You did this one and then plug this into like, the Y.
Plug it into the top one. So like X equals 11X plus 5. Is that right? 11 minus X plus 5. And then 2X, so that you'd add X to both sides. So 2X equals 16. X equals,
it will be this
X
way.
equals 8. And that's what you got. Okay, so that's just another way of getting to it.
Yeah, once you get to the math part, there's like multiple ways.
Okay.
Yeah, like the one thing that has to be set in stone is like this part.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll show you in a bit like some keywords. I think does your what prep book is that? I have like 2 that I base it off from. Like I have Kaplan.
So you can see me, right? Like this is what I'm working with. Can you see that?
Let me stop sharing first. Maybe that's why. Whoops. Oh, here you go.
Yeah.
Now I can see it.
So that's what I'm using. And then I just ordered, I don't have it yet, this version with just the math review.
Okay. That one's fine. Does that one show like the different tips, like how to attack it, or is it just like, okay?
It does give you strategy, but I'm not sure I got a lot out of it. Obviously, because I'm struggling so much. Okay.
Well, a lot of it is, so from what I got, the ones that like you shared with me is there's like 3 different things. Oh yeah, that's the other thing. Maybe you've already started, but a lot of like remembering these things is like categorizing each one and then subcategorizing, the procedures. Okay. So like when you look at a problem, like oh, and then you know you've done it, you know, after so many times of like practicing. But it's so much easier if you build like that library in your head where it's like, oh, okay, this looks like a, you know, an algebra problem or system. Yeah. So for the ones I saw is like there's a bunch of algebra and then there's a bunch of like comparison problems. Those ones, yeah, they can get a little bit tricky. So we'll cover that in a bit too. And then
I haven't gotten to the probability yet, but when I did the first part of the practice test, like there were some probability ones where I was like, I don't even know. Yeah,
the Venn diagram one, right? There's like the Venn diagram.
Oh yeah, I sent you some of them. That one, and then the one with the like the employees getting drawn out of a no, the books. Like you have to choose a certain number of books, and how many combinations of books are there when 2 of them have to be biographies, and there's 4 biographies to pick from. Like I couldn't even, I don't know.
Oh, that I don't think you sent me that one.
It was.
We'll cover it like when if we have time.
Yeah.
That one isn't that bad.
Okay.
But yeah, like another difficult one is like the Venn diagram one. Like there's like the 2 categories and 3.
Right. That made no sense to me at all.
And the one that you struggled with, that one is like a more challenging one than the typical.
Okay.
So if you get that one, you know, like the steps for that, you're pretty much good to go. Because typically, like the ones I've seen are, because that one has like 2 variables that you have to like it doesn't give you. Which is like pretty intense. But I feel like when you're studying for these, it's always good to like cover as much ground, because during the exam, yeah, definitely. But like when I took mine, I felt I studied more than like the usual, you know, like for the exam.
Right. Okay.
So if
I probably put in over 50 hours so far.
Okay, that shouldn't be that bad. And then yeah, like.
But I'm not getting anywhere. Like I took that practice test and I only got like 3 right out of 20 questions.
Yeah. So what I would suggest is so for this one, do you get this one though?
Now I get that totally. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So like maybe like after this session, you can like maybe like apply some of these, like especially this one, like converting words into math, and then systems. And in this systems, it's pretty much just a subcategory of like algebra.
Okay.
They're pretty much all the same. Like you're just solving for a variable.
Right. If I could get that, if I could break the code for that, I feel like I could do a lot better.
Yeah. Let's try to do it. Let's do another one. Which one is another one?
Let's see. Oh, the one right after it. The ratio of 2x to 5y is 3 to 4. What is the ratio of x to y?
Okay, this guy. 2x, right? Over 5y. Okay. Okay. So for this one, so this is like why we call this is probably like, oh, it's a ratio. Yeah, definitely a proportion problem. Yeah, it's a proportion problem.
I mean, I know how to do like what a ratio is, but how do you compare ratios? That I was having a time with.
Okay, so I guess let's start off with like the same procedure. So like it gives you it doesn't give you this, but it gives you this guy. And then,
right, and I easily could have gotten to where you are there. The 2x over 5y equals 3 over 4.
Okay. And then you need to find this guy, right? The x over y.
So you gotta find.
X over y. Yeah. It's wanting to find an x over y.
Okay.
So, yeah. And x being like, you know, the 2x over 5y.
So I'm going to look at what you did here. So you circled ratio of 2x to 5y is 3 to 4. So the 2, is that like going to indicate a ratio, like the little colon?
Yeah, the 2, like it's pretty much like a division or like a ratio. Yeah, it could be either one.
Yeah. Okay.
It could be either one. Yeah.
Oh, so it could also be a division.
It's always like, you know, it's not. I mean, it's a little like, it's not that bad because like when it says 2x to 5, it can never be like 5y over this guy. It has to be this guy. Yeah.
Oh, like so the lesser number always has to be on the top?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Like not the lesser, but the way they worded it. The way they worded it.
Okay. Yeah, so the order it comes
on the left of this. Yeah. And then on the right of it is the one at the bottom.
So if it had said 5y to 2x, 5y would be on the top or on the left. Okay.
Because like for this one though, so go with that like that process. for this one, you could have solved this like this way as well, right? You could have solved it that way, right?
Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah, but like don't mix it. Don't mix this and
Right.
the other one. Yeah.
I'm gonna need this strategy to like go through it how it says in the sentence.
Okay. Yeah. So for ratios, proportions, it's pretty much like after you have this equation, like you just solve for x over y.
Okay, so let me see what you're doing here. When you go down to 2x over 5y equals 3/4. So how did you get the 5 over 2?
Okay, so you could solve this like two ways. So like I guess so like at the top here, what you could have done is just like times it, but isolate x over y. You want to isolate this guy, right? And but you have 2 and 5, so I just multiply it by the reciprocal.
Oh, okay. So in order to divide each side by 2/5, you're just taking the reciprocal and multiplying.
Exactly. Yeah, it works that way. That's one way of doing it.
Okay.
And then the other way is like the proportion way, cross multiply.
Okay, so then otherwise it would be 2x times 4 equals 5y times 3, and then that seems harder. Is that harder?
This one? So
8x equals 15y.
Yeah, I mean, this is the typical way, like from like a long time ago. This is usually the way. This is usually the way they do it. But like for me, it's really like it's up to you. Like it's always good to also to think about different ways of attacking something and then getting that the same like the same endpoint. Because then like during the test they could switch it, but for a fact you're gonna get it.
Okay.
So like these are two ways of doing something.
So cross multiply. So that would be 15y to 8x, and then you are dividing each side by x basically, or y.
Yeah.
I'm afraid I would flip that. I'm afraid I wouldn't get the direction right.
For the x over y, the 15 over 8.
For the second way.
The second way, yeah. Let me see. Even if
I'm afraid I would I would somehow end up getting it inverted.
I would, even if you did, let me see, if you did 8x, right, and then as long as you know what it's asking, it's not asking this guy, it's not asking that guy.
Okay.
It's asking for this one.
So I want x to be on the top, so I would divide each side by 8, so that I would have 15 over 8, and divide each side by y, so I'd have x over y. Yeah. Okay.
So as long as you have x over y, and then that's what you're gonna find. You're always gonna get 15 over 8. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Oh my gosh. Okay, so this other one, the 13 about the investment.
Yeah.
I really could not understand how I was supposed to find out how much was each investment. Like I understand calculating the investment, but being able to figure out how much was 8% and how much was 10% seemed really difficult. Like I couldn't even figure out how I would set that up.
Is this the long one, the long word problem with the 3,000?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the one. Okay, so I guess for this, I didn't write down the like the words because there are a lot of them.
Right.
but let's try to see if we can hash that. So the first thing.
Oh, I didn't even get. Okay, so I see this x plus y equals 3,000. That's somewhere I didn't even like. Let me see. Yeah. Yeah, I had P equals for profit or whatever 3,000, or no, for the initial investment 3,000. Total. What did I?
Yeah, how did you attack this one? Maybe we can compare that.
Well, I basically, it's really embarrassing. I wrote the rate, two different rates, 10%, 8%, and then P equals 3,000, T equals 256, and then I was like 256 equals 3,000, and then a parentheses for 1 plus, and then I was going to do the rate over time. Okay. But then I was like, well, how do I do that with two different rates, and how's that going to give me how much each was?
Oh, I see. Yeah, I thought it was like that equation. I thought it was like the, rate, time, whatever.
Right. Because that's what it taught me in the book.
Oh, your book tells you that?
Yes.
Okay, that's
And it gives me
confusing.
this crazy, stupid question.
That's very confusing then. Yeah. See, like sometimes I mean, some books are good. I think your book is probably, does it tell you the solution at least for this?
Well, this is just the math review, so it tells me the solution, but it doesn't give me an explanation for how they got there. It just gives me the answer.
Okay.
But the GRE practice questions, it'll give you a thorough explanation.
Okay. It's yeah, like sometimes it's not just like applying. I would say, yeah, like try not to apply that, that equation, whatever the equation you said.
Well, I don't like that equation anyway, so I would love to forget it exists, because it really didn't make sense to me when I read it.
Yeah. So like a lot of like these questions, this one, let's see if we can. It's pretty much the same as like your algebra question, solve systems of equation, right? I
feel like basic algebra I understand. If I could just figure out how to translate a word problem to that, I could be okay.
Yeah. This one, since it's a lot of things, one thing to note is like, you know how like it gives you 3,000 and it gives you 256, right?
Yes.
Okay. So 3,000 is like the total, I think.
Oh, look what you did. Okay.
Yeah. you know
You're
what I mean?
so smart.
That's what, it's really just breaking that like chunk of info.
Right. And I think that's what I'm hung up on, is I see the info and I understand what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to translate it into a math problem, and I can't. I don't know how to do it.
Yeah. Let's try to see what we can do. Like, so you know it says total, right? It says total.
Yes.
So that's another keyword. So total gives you kind of like in algebra, you always want to be thinking for these ones, or a lot of these questions out there, is going to be like a system. So this first equation, this x plus y, it is in a way, it's like telling you there's two things here, but then you know that this problem has another one where it's giving you like the rates, right? Like the interest rates.
Right, and that's where I got hung up.
Yeah, I know. It's just maybe like looking at this now, and then like maybe when you see it again, it's like, oh, okay, I know it now.
Right. I'm hoping. I'm counting on that.
But in algebra, there's always this, like there's the total, which always
hold on. Snug, get down off the couch. He thinks because I'm busy, he can do whatever he wants. Get down off the couch. Sorry, hold on. Get down. Okay. Get down. Bad boy. He's my daughter's dog, and she's not here, so he thinks he can do whatever he wants. No, yeah, boy. Okay. Sorry.
It's all good.
That's why equals 3,000.
Okay.
All right, so I understand that. And then I actually understand that second equation also.
So this rate one. So, you know, in algebra, you have these ones where it's like no coefficient, right? There's no coefficient here.
There's what?
Let me rewrite that. You know how like in algebra, there's no number in front of the variable?
Right. Oh, coefficient is what you said. Yes.
Yeah. So there's no coefficients for this. So that, I don't know, like it's like, and it's probably been a while, but that's the thing. Like there's an equation where it gives you the total, where it's just the variable, and then there's the total.
Right.
You have to look for those, because it always gives that to you. But then it'll never give you this guy. It'll just give you total. Right. Or sum, whatever. And then it'll give you another set of info to build the second equation. Okay. So you technically, like when you're attacking the problem, like you always want to be searching for these things, so that you're like bogged down by like, oh, there's so much, where can I translate this? But for this next one, the rate, it gives you, let me read what it gives you. It gives you like 8% and then a 10%, right? Right. Yeah. So you know that this is probably going to be something related to like, and then it gives you at the last year, so the total interest earned is 256. Right. And it doesn't matter if X or Y is the 10 or the 8%, because we don't know what either one of them is, right? It doesn't matter, yeah. Okay. But like, I think in the end, like you'll see what you mean if you keep it consistent. Okay. Yeah, but you need to also keep in mind that like, yes, this needs to be like 10%, and then this is 8%. Right. And so just X has to always be the 10% investment. Yeah, or this can be like, well, I mean, it's like, it has to be like a decimal in a way, or it could be this guy. Yeah. Right. Yeah. I think decimal will be easier to work with, right? Yeah, and then also like I think I remember when I took the GRE, did they allow you to bring a calculator or not?
Well, I'm taking it on the computer since testing centers are closed, and there's a calculator built into the program that you can use.
Okay, I think what I did was I kind of just like, I you know like did like long divisions. Sometimes for me it's faster. It's like then like to go through like the process every time and clicking the buttons. You know what I mean?
Right. I find it's pretty easy for me to make silly errors. So
I see.
you know, like
Yeah.
to forget to put to forget to transfer over a negative, or you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, if the calculator works for you, that's good. As long as like, because like that calculator is not like scientific, I think.
Right. It's just like a basic one. I think it does do like square roots and stuff.
Yeah, that's why I didn't want to rely on it because I don't want to be like, oh, what am I gonna expect? But
right.
But I guess what I'm saying is always be prepared to have every math operation that you can do like on a napkin or whatever on that whiteboard.
Right.
Yeah, because like you'll never know, like it might not be there and you'll be stuck to guess.
True. Okay.
Okay, so do you get this part?
So I understand setting up that system of equations. That makes sense.
Yeah. So like after that, it's just pretty much like solving the system.
And then you multiply each side by 100. Oh, okay. To make it really easy.
To make it super easy.
10x plus 8y equals 25,600. And then are you doing the same thing solving for, yeah.
Yeah, it is what I did. X first and then solve for y.
Okay.
And then X.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense.
That does. Yes. The whole I think where I was getting hung up is I couldn't understand how to write the problem because it didn't occur to me to write two equations. I couldn't figure out how to write it all into one.
No, like the one thing is it's probably like the example they gave you. I don't know what that book tells you, but maybe because sometimes like when they show you a way, and you want to like stick to that process.
Right, like when they talked about investments, there was nothing like this where there were two different returns.
Yeah. So like a lot of it is just like having this basic notion of like, okay, setting up a equation and solving a system. There's a lot of this. I remember doing a lot of this.
Right. I think that's why I feel like I could get this. I could maybe have a fighting chance of not being embarrassed.
Yeah, you'll be fine. You'll get a 70. I think that's all you need. 70%.
Oh my God. I don't know. I hope so. I would be happy with that.
Yeah, it's not that bad.
Okay, so what about the next one? The two cars starting from the same point, traveling away from each other?
Yeah, that's super hard, actually. That's like one of the harder ones.
Okay.
So like, I'll try explaining this like, I guess like an easy way, but there's other problems like this, which is like less hard, like it's not as bad. But because like this one is they call this like a rate, like rates, where you have distance, time, and then there's like a velocity, which is the rate.
Okay. Yeah, that was very confusing.
Yeah. So again, like what you should do is like set up this givens from like and then converting the words to math. Okay. So they give you like my D here is the distance.
Can I ask you a question here? What is this GF? I understand A is answer, right?
Okay. For me, the way I usually like set up my, how like when I try to solve these problems during the exam, I set it up like this. Like it's always a system for me. G is like given, F is find, A is answer.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, it's a system. You always want to have you always want to fit, I guess, like your problem so that it's not, you don't have to remember so many things, I'm
gonna write that down.
Because then like when everything is all over, that's also a reflection of what's in your head.
Right.
Yeah. So if you ever attack it this way, it's like at least you know what you have, and then just solve for what you don't know.
So given the distance was 208 miles, time was 2 hours. X is the velocity. What is?
Okay, so this is where it gets confusing because so this type of problem, the main equation to use. So like I was basing like how I'm gonna solve this from this equation, which is like distance equals like the speed times time.
Okay, I'm gonna write that down too because I don't know that I knew that.
Yeah. So distance is like speed or velocity times time.
So distance equals speed times time, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And then you can manipulate that the way you want.
Okay.
Like, yeah. So that's that one main equation. But then I was thinking like, okay, it gives you, like the very first thing it gives you here is, it gives you 2 hours, right? Like for a number. So, 2 hours is the time. So you have t here.
Okay.
It's given. That's good. And then you have 208 miles, right?
Right.
So this one is distance. You have d. So you have d and t. You only have to solve for s, right?
Yes, but I mean, when there's two different cars going two different speeds, that's where I got confused.
Okay. So this is where this one matters now. This one.
Oh,
this is
I
where
see.
Yeah. So like, and then for a lot of these, like maybe draw a diagram.
Yeah. I thought about doing that, but I couldn't figure out where that was even going to get me.
Yeah, this problem is like another, like I said, like if you get this problem, a lot of rates will be easy because most of them is just solving this equation. They'll give you like what we just did. It'll give you one of the, like two of these, and you have to solve for one.
Knowing that is really helpful, that equation.
Yeah, yeah. And then try, like, for me, yeah, so for some people, remembering a lot of equations is good, and then maybe setting it up. Maybe like if you want to make it make sense for, like it's a very physical equation. You have distance, right?
Yeah.
And then like the faster you go at a certain time, they'll give you a distance.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like the faster you go at a certain time will give you. This is pretty much the car, right? Like the car analogy. That's why a lot of these is But then let me try explaining what this diagram shows you, because for me, like trying to make sense of why we need to do this is kind of somewhat like, I mean, it's not something like, okay, maybe you need to add v and v plus 8. It seems like it doesn't make sense.
Right.
But there's a reason why they tell you like they're in opposite directions. They tell you that one, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And it's because you have to add them.
Okay.
That's the reason why. Because if they went in the same direction,
you'd have to subtract or something, right?
Yeah, you can't do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if it's opposite, so it's the wording that really bogs down people. It's definitely the wording. They'll confuse you with the wording in the GRE math.
Yeah.
So yeah, like the reason why you draw this is so that you can get this equation.
Okay. So speed equals x plus y. Okay. That makes
total
sense.
Speed. Yeah. You need to get total speed. But then they give you like two cars though, right?
Yes.
So that's why I created X and Y, because they give you two cars. Every time they give you 2, 3, or whatever quantity of something, and then they don't give it to you in like in exact terms. They give you like this is going this speed.
Uh-huh.
And then the other one's going like 8 miles per hour faster than the first one. Then you know that that's two equations, right? It's very subtle, but then that's, for a fact that you need to set up two equations for that, because it's two different cars, and then each one of them is going different speeds. And
you'll have to solve one in terms of the other to get.
Yeah.
Okay.
So a lot of these is like based on this speed or like velocity.
Okay.
So that's why I set up two, X and Y, because they give us two cars, and then they're going different speed.
All right, so you're at speed equals 2v plus 8. So distance equals speed times time. So you've got distance, 208, equals speed, 2v plus 8, times 2. So 208 equals 4v plus 16. Subtract 16 from each side. 192 equals 4v, divide by 4. So v equals 48. That's how fast the slower car was going, right?
Exactly. Yep. Yeah.
So then, but what it's asking is the average speed of each car.
It's not. Yeah.
So then, okay. So I see you did that. So then you would add 8 to the 48.
The X and Y are the average speed. That's what I'm saying. Like the X and Y.
I guess I was reading it as like average the two cars together.
I know. See, like it's like, what words do you pay attention to? Okay,
so you're figuring out the speed of each car. You're not averaging the two cars together.
Yeah, and that's really what the question is asking. It's not, you don't have to take the divided by 2 of these, yeah.
Okay. All right, good to know. That is good.
Okay.
That makes sense. The one after that, chartering the aircraft and figuring out how much it costs when they don't give you any sort of amount, any.
I know, right? Like, this one is like a 2 per 2, so it's a 2 per. So let's try to like, let me see. Okay, yeah, I can attack this really fast.
Okay.
So you know how like they give you total, oh, they don't give that to you, but they ask you about that, right? They ask you about
Right,
total fixed costs.
Yes, but they don't give it to you.
Yeah. So since they don't give it to you, you might as well put it as like a variable, right?
Okay. Yeah, true.
So that's my very first thing. They don't give it to you, but it's asking about it.
Okay.
And then try to see like that variable needs to be like used somewhere else in order for you to, you know, perform some algebra.
Right.
So this is where it's tricky, because then it's not even like just a variable. It's like, oh, like you have this A, which is what is it? I'm using it as a cost per person, right?
Uh-huh.
And then that's what really,
A is the cost per person for 36 people. X over 36. B is the cost for 40 people. X over 40. Okay.
yeah. So this part right here, like kind of, you probably need to think about this more, because then it's not just a number. Like I thought first you had to add something, because if 36 charter the aircraft rather than 40, that's not very obvious like what equation it is, right? If 36 people charter the aircraft rather than 40, like I didn't know like what is that, like a number, or and then it says then the cost per person is greater than. That was that's a little confusing.
Right.
But I guess looking at this, does it make sense? Like now,
so
okay.
If A, then B is 12 greater. So A equals B plus 12.
This one is easy. This one's the easy one. This one right here, this one is the harder one.
Yeah, okay. Right. So A equals X over 36. Does that make sense to me? Let me think here. 36 people. Where X is the total fixed cost divided by 36. That's the cost per person. Okay, that makes sense.
Okay, yeah. So just, I guess, try to like force your mind to think about this, because like at first, I guess it does make sense when you're saying cost per person. Right? I mean, it will be a cost because you are looking for a cost.
Looking up there, the X is the total fixed cost. You're dividing the fixed cost by the number of people to get the cost per person.
Yep. Yeah. See that? So yeah, it makes sense if you think about it that way.
Right.
And then it's just, you know, solving for these guys.
So you're finding the cost per person, or no, you're finding out the total fixed cost, and then you're finding out what it is for 40 people. Yes. Okay. So A equals B plus 12, and then X over 36 equals X over 40 plus 12. Okay. So then you're solving, I mean, you got 3 variables there. So, oh, no. The second one, you just have 1, right?
Yeah. This one is just plugging in. This is what we had first, but then we know these are in terms of
So
X.
you're solving the second one first.
For this, it's just X.
Right. So that's easier.
Oh, yeah. Technically, it's just this guy. What we have here is just a relationship.
Okay.
It's technically just this guy, yeah.
So this is less a system of equations, and it's just, okay, so X minus X 40 equals 12. X, what are you doing then? What did you do?
Oh, yeah. So here's another thing, a tip, I guess, when you're doing, like, you don't want to be like working with large numbers while you're doing computations, like setting up your, in the GRE, like, because obviously the calculator issue.
Right.
But so this is what I usually do. And I think if you have this in mind, it's like, okay, I don't want to simplify I don't want to expand my fractions when I'm doing them. So this is why I didn't even multiply these guys, because I knew I was going to cancel out something from the top.
Okay.
And then now it's easy, right? 36
so,
times
but
40.
I'm trying to, so you're just writing it out, 36.
Yeah.
Wait, I guess I'm confused.
With which part?
Okay, so you cross multiplied 40x minus 36x.
For this guy, I didn't do any cross multiply. I just pretty much like I combined these two fractions. because like this one is over 36, this one's over 40, right?
Uh-huh.
So I needed to combine the fractions. So I guess the way I would do that is like knowing this one is over 36 and then this one's over 40.
Uh-huh.
The best way without like thinking about the fractions is just multiplying here. Let me put this somewhere else so it's easier to see. So like you have this guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's focus on the left hand side.
Okay.
So you want to combine these because so that you can get, you can solve for them easier. So what I would do, since you have 36 here and then 40 here, it could be any number. You just times this by that other guy, and then you just times this by this other guy. And then whatever you do to the bottom, you do to the top, right?
Okay. So you're multiplying each side by the other side.
Yeah. And then this is what I got there.
Okay. Let me just put my head around this again. So x over 36, you're multiplying it by 40, and then x over 40, you're multiplying by 36.
Yeah.
So then you've got 40x minus 36x, 36 times 40. You're canceling out. You could cancel out. Wait.
Yes.
Hold on.
So okay. You could technically just do 36.
Oh, so then you're at 4x. I guess I'm confused.
Which part?
The bottom. So you subtracted the 36x from the 40x, and you have 4x on the top. But what are you doing to the bottom there?
So the bottom here is you know how like you had like over 36, right? And then this guy's over 40.
Right. So you're multiplying them together, but you crossed out the 40.
I crossed out the 40 from because I can cancel it out.
From where?
Because you know how like you did 40x minus 36x?
Uh-huh.
So that's what, 4x, right?
Yeah.
So here, 4x. And then this guy from the bottom, I'm going to write this the way it was. So 36 times that by 40.
Right.
So this is just a fraction, right? Everything's like 4 is being multiplied by x, 36 being multiplied by 40, right?
Uh-huh.
So you can cancel whatever you needed here. You could do 1. Like 4 divided by 40 is what? It's 10, right?
So that's how you get the 10.
Yeah, and the reason why I did that is because it's easy to multiply to 36.
Gotcha. So then it'll just be 360.
Yeah, you always want to be looking for those things that are easy.
Okay, so x over 360.
Yeah.
So.
But like I said, if it's easy for you to just multiply 36 and 40, like here, if you just go off from here, and then like multiply the bottom 36. I mean, you just have to multiply.
Hold on a second here. What are you doing? Get down. Get out. Get out. Get out. Get out, boy. Get out. I am so sorry.
It's all good. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So how did you get the x equals 4,300?
Oh, okay. So I'll get to that point.
I see. You still got the 12 on the other side.
You still have the 12, yes.
So you're going to multiply each side by 360.
Exactly. Yeah, you got it. Yeah. And
so
that's how I got it.
Total cost. And then the cost per person is 40 people. Then would you just?
This is actually. I wrote this down really weird. It's 4,320.
I see. Okay. And then for the second one, b equals x over 40. So yeah, you're just gonna divide 4,320 by 40, right?
For the second one, yeah.
Okay, that's easy. That makes sense.
Yeah, that part is super easy. Yeah, the first part is the one where like setting up an equation and knowing what the heck you're solving for.
So the one after that I was having really trouble with too, like the coordinates of that triangle. Like it wants you to find the distances.
Oh, that one? Oh, let me see.
Like I couldn't find any of these.
16?
17.
17. I'm looking at this right now. Okay. So find the following. I didn't solve this one, but because I didn't see like a question mark.
Oh, right, because I gave up.
But let's
I mean,
try
I
to
was
look at
able
this.
to figure out.
I don't think it's
Oh, okay.
it's not that bad. Let me just see what it's asking.
So I
This
just
is a
want to find out, I understand what they want me to do is probably use the Pythagorean theorem because that's a triangle with a right angle. But if I didn't have the vertical or horizontal distances, I didn't know how I was supposed to do that.
Oh, I see what you're saying. What you could do, you're only given like, let me see.
Oh,
no,
wait a minute. I think I'm figuring it out right now.
You are given the bottom.
I am, because if the point P is -2,6, that length is 6.
Yeah, now you see
And
it, right?
if the other point is 5, 0, that length is 5.
Yeah. So you can get the other coordinate, the third one, but by just doing that.
Yeah.
Actually, you could, but by looking at it, it's just -2, and you know, you have this 5 and the -2. That's what.
Okay, I'm an idiot. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, that makes
I didn't
sense.
do that one, but like that. Yeah, I think it's doable.
That makes sense now, but when I look at it, I had also been sitting here looking at this for 5 hours straight, so maybe I was fried.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, a lot of these is like I said, like making it easy for you to understand it, and then like kind of just applying all those individual steps. And then this one right here is a geometry problem, though. It is algebra at the same time.
Right.
But geometry, you could probably put geometry all in one bin, and this is like one of them.
Okay, so then after that, though, exercise 18, I knew how to figure out the first one, the slope and the y-intercept, but the equation of the line passing through that point, like, I think I need some help figuring.
Yeah. So this one, like for B, 18B, like when you're trying to find the equation of a line, it got kind of cut off. So I didn't know what it was asking.
Okay.
But you know, here.
Do you want me to give it to you? Or,
what's the y-intercept?
the y-intercept is 1.
Okay, so B equals 1, right?
Yes.
And
so
then
we're just doing the y equals mx plus b, right?
Yeah. Yep. So this whole thing is based off this like slope line, you know, equation.
All right. So if b is 1, okay. Y I guess I don't know.
Okay. So this is how I attack it. Like usually this is like an awkward way of asking a question for slope line equation, because usually you're given like m, right?
Right. And it doesn't give you the slope.
But this one it gives it to you in let me just change this. It gives it to you like you're given b, so this is this guy.
Yeah.
And then you have to find m.
Because so y is going to be 2 and x is going to be 3.
Yeah. Yep. So it's pretty much just that plus 1, and you have to find m.
And you have to find the slope, and then you can write your equation. Okay.
Yeah. So that's that guy. I think I solved that for here. I think I got m as 1/3.
Okay.
This guy, here we go.
All right.
What about the x-intercept?
So, I mean, I would just solve for y being equal to 0, right?
Yep. Yeah, that one I had to remind myself again.
Okay.
So what is that one? So yeah, y equals 0, solve for x. That's that one.
So if I'm using that same y equals mx plus b, so 0 equals 3x plus, it wouldn't be 1 anymore, would it?
For which one?
If I'm figuring out the y-intercept of that equation?
This equation?
Right, where it's like, it's asking what the y-intercept is down here. And you just asked me that too, right?
For C? Is that C?
D.
D, okay. D, but then D is asking for A, B, C.
Oh, I see. Okay, so we want to find out the y-intercept. So x would be equal to 0.
Wait,
right?
For D, I think isn't it asking for X-intercept?
Right, but are we doing C or D?
I don't know. Are you doing? Which one do you want to do?
I don't know. Okay.
We were doing D.
Okay.
We can do C though. C is not that bad. I
Okay.
think
So if the if we want the y-intercept, the slope is 3. The line passes through -2 and 1. So 3 times -2.
yeah, it's this one. Okay.
And then so 1 equals. Is there any b for that though?
You have to solve for it. You have to solve for B.
Plus b. Okay.
Yeah.
So 1 equals 3 times -2 plus b. Did I do that right?
Yeah. What did you get for B?
Let me do that really quick. So -6 plus b equals 1. So 7?
Yes. Yeah, I got that one.
Okay. Okay, great. All right, that makes a little more sense. I think I can.
Yeah. These ones are. I mean, you could say this is geometry, but
Right.
this is like the beginning of algebra, if I remember.
Right. I kind of feel like the functions and the parabolas and stuff. I get a little like. Okay, so the next one, exercise 19, where it's a parabola.
Okay.
Is the equation still the same? Y equals mx plus b? No. How do I find the y-intercept and the x-intercept for a parabola?
Oh, it's not that bad. It's not the same. It's you have to change that equation into like the intercept equation for a
parabola. So I have to factor it?
Here, there's another form of that equation.
Okay.
And then like I didn't do that one, but I can tell you. Let me see. Finite x coordinates. Here you go.
Wait, if you're doing something, I can't see it.
Yeah, this is looking at like the problem itself.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Since the y-axis is I would say like just plug in the, you know, like when it says about y x-intercept, plug in x 0 and find y.
Okay.
And then,
to find the x-intercept.
Yeah, and then for the x-intercept, plug in y as 0 and solve for x.
Okay, I guess I got confused because of the x squared. So then, I guess that makes sense because that's going to give you a plus or minus situation, which will give you your 2 points, right?
Yeah, and then you know how to find the vertex of a parabola?
Well, I mean, I know what it is, but I guess I'm not sure how to find it. So, can we work through that whole problem? Just kind of.
Okay, so let's see. So the problem itself is, let's look at this. Let's go on to another one, which is like easier. All right, so this one is this guy. For all of them? Did you want to do all of them?
Yeah, just so I understand it.
Okay, I think it's x-intercept.
Yeah.
And this one is
x-intercept. You would solve for y being equal to 0. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, solve for x. Yeah, and it's pretty much just this guy. And then this is just pretty much your quadratic, right? Formula.
Right.
So like a equals 1, b equals -4, and c equals -12. If I remember it, it's x equals -b plus or minus.
Yeah.
b squared minus 4ac.
Minus 4ac divided by 2a.
There you go. I did remember it. And then you just plug these guys in.
Okay. Well, there was a on the page 4. I didn't send it to you, but there were a few questions where there were equations where I tried using the quadratic formula, but it wasn't working out for me. So I'm not sure I'm really good at that.
For the quadratic formula?
Right.
Okay. Let's look at it. So when you do this, so this is the x-intercept pretty much, but then it's only the one that makes sense. Like let me see if this one it gives you like a weird number. So you know how to get this part, right?
Yes, I know how to get that.
Brace. Okay. So after knowing your ABCs, you could just plug them into the quadratic formula.
Right.
And this is what I would
feel
do.
like
So
every time I try to use the quadratic formula, I end up with some crazy weird square root thing that makes no sense.
yeah, so let's see if that happens here. So you know how when you have this guy, hopefully it's not negative. Hopefully it's not negative.
Right.
So this one, because if it's negative, then definitely something's wrong.
Yeah.
And then so it's 2 and then 1.
Uh-huh.
And then so like, you know, this is just 4.
Right.
And then let's see, 16. And then this is gonna be good. Negative 4 times that is like plus 30, plus 48.
So negative 4 times 1 is negative 4, and negative 4 times negative 12 is positive.
Still good. Like for this one, it's
oh,
positive.
I see. You're multiplying 1 time. Okay, so it's negative 12 times negative 4 is positive 48. Okay.
I think we're good with this one because this gives you like square root of 64.
Which, okay. So 4 plus or minus 8.
Yeah.
So it's either going to be 12 or it's going to be 4. Oh, wait, no, divided by 2.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's either going to be 2 or it's going to be 4.
So for this one,
so the y-intercepts are going to be 2 and 4. Is that right?
2 and 6.
Wait. Let's see. 4 plus or minus 8 is 12. Oh, I see. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I would do. That's for the first one.
Okay. Okay.
And then like the next one is pretty much the same thing.
Okay,
like,
we don't have to go through that.
But the vertex one.
So for the y-intercept then.
Okay.
You can't set y to 0. You have to set x to 0. So you just solve it for x being 0.
Yeah, and you already have that one. Like it's really simple. If you set x equals 0, it's negative 12, right?
Right. Okay. Perfect.
And then like for the vertex one is like HK, I believe. And then that's the vertex coordinate. But then you need to create this form. I'm just gonna write it down first and then try to see if we can find that. But this is the vertex form of the parabola.
Oh, okay. So I didn't know this. I'm gonna have to write this down. I have never seen this before.
Okay, so come on.
So y equals a times x minus h squared plus k.
Yeah. So for a parabola, there's two equations, types of equation. You have like the quadratic form, which is like the one we have here.
Right.
And then let's try to see if we can change that to like the vertex form. And this is the goal of this problem pretty much. Because once you have that vertex form, this h and k can be read from the equation, and this is your vertex coordinate.
Okay. So y equals, okay.
This one is always it's not tricky, but it's just like a system again. So let's go with it. So first of all, you have this quadratic form. And then you have to do this. So you have this x squared minus 4x, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what you have to do is like kind of like do what I'm doing here. Like write x squared minus 4x. And then the negative 12 has to be somewhere else.
Uh-huh.
And then what you have to do is so x squared is already good because what we want to do is make sure the coefficient of x squared is 1.
Uh-huh.
So what you want to do is complete the square. Do you remember completing a square before?
Yes, but I think you're talking about, okay, so to get it to like x plus a squared plus b.
Yeah, so you divide this one by 2 and then you square it.
Wait, so you divide the, that's b, right?
Yeah, you divide b by 2, and you square it, so that's 4, right?
I'm never gonna remember that.
So it's 4. So there's gonna be 4 right here. So you have that guy, and then after that, you pretty much, because the goal here is to find this guy right here, the x minus h form.
Right.
Which I could already read what it's gonna look like. It's gonna be x minus 2.
I have to tell you, I am lost here on this one.
Okay. So what part? What part?
I guess I just don't understand it at all. I mean, so you've got.
Okay. Let me try to explain that part. So let's see, 1, and then you have to do this part actually. Hold up. I remember doing this. Let me just write down what you're supposed to do and explain it. So like you do that plus 4 and times it by that 1. You technically have a 1 right here.
You know what? We are right at 8 o'clock and I've got to get on that other Zoom call. Can we save this one?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. There's other ones that we can do tomorrow. What time works?
Tomorrow, I don't know, maybe something in the evening?
Yeah, actually, I'm good with the same time, but do you, actually, yeah, I have an appointment from 3 to 5. But you,
okay.
Anytime after that, I'm good.
Sure. So do you want to do like 5:30 your time, 7:30 my time?
Yeah, and then we can just go to like, as many questions as you want to finish it.
Okay. Let's just do an hour again and then save another hour for, in the next couple of days.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. So like, yeah, I hope that was good. Like those tips and tricks. I'll explain this one to you for sure tomorrow.
Yeah, this has been really good. I definitely want to do more practice with like actual GRE questions and working through strategies for that. But I obviously do have some like classic math questions too.
Okay. If you can you send me like that one? You said that bio stuff. There was that one, the books.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay. I will.
Yeah. And then other stuff too. Like if you have like, it's always good for me to like, like get prepared for
right.
the GRE questions. And then like, so like, it's more effective for me to explain it.
Okay. I will. And that was a classic GRE question. That was off the sample test.
Perfect. Yeah. They're not that bad. I would say the practice, there was one practice exam I took that was like a little bit harder than the main. So like I said, it's the revised GRE, it's not bad as long as you're applying these basic steps.
I'm just worried because if I can't even like get any right on the practice test, I'm in real trouble.
Nah, you're fine. Like I think if you why don't you do this? If you're gonna like, I guess tonight, once you try to do some of these other problems, send me as like just maybe breeze through like a lot of the practice ones.
Okay, I probably won't do any more tomorrow, but I'll try some more practice questions tomorrow before we meet, and then I'll send them to you.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, all right, Andy, thank you.
Great, thank you so much.
Yep, have a good one.
You too. Bye.
All right, see ya.